What's up, y'all? So I'm gonna be covering Skarmory, and first things first, okay? Before I cover literally anything else, I'm gonna address the stats because I know people are gonna see it and they're just gonna have this visceral negative reaction. It's too much change. I don't like it. So, for those of you who are having this reaction, stay, calm down. Just take a seat. For those of you who see the minus 24 defense in your, I'm being such an asshole right now, but it's funny. Lightheartedly, guys, of course, lighthearted. But for those of you who do see that minus 24 defense and that red text right there and are losing their minds, foaming at the mouth, oh my god, he nerfed Skarmory. It's not defensive anymore. It has access to Intimidate. With the Intimidate boost, any physical attacker that you switch into will have minus 30% physical attack instantly. If you take that into account, Skarmory now has base 160 defense, and it has plus 5 to its HP. So it's bulkier than it was before. So calm down. All right, I just want to get that out of the way before anybody says anything about it, because I know people are going to say something about it. And people sometimes just get these negative reactions without actually looking into what it is or what it actually does now or how the stats work. So yeah, base 116 defense with Intimidate is bulkier than it used to be, and I can prove it if you don't believe me. You think I'm just pulling numbers out my ass or something. This is such a harsh and aggressive intro. I'm so sorry for those of you who are. I'm so sorry to those of you who see this and are like, "Oh, that's really cool," and you just have this fucking guy yelling at you on the internet. Yeah, a little bit of weird energy in this video. If you're new here, I'm not always like this. I just thought it would be funny to start the video off that way. Also, because I just wanted to get that out of the way, because people do have a negative reaction to change, and in this hack, a lot of Pokemon are massively reworked in the way that they function in battle. Just because of all of the new move buffs and the great new, 28 custom abilities, tons of new moves, and all this stuff, and the power creep, and all the Pokemon on equal level playing fields. So, people might just react negatively if they click on this video and they recommend that they see Skarmory, and it's like, what the hell? Why is it nerfed? Why did you nerf Skarmory? Oh my god! So, I just want to, dude, I'm approaching this in such bad faith, but, yeah. So now that I assume that everybody here, most people who are here are probably cool with this anyways, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. Yes, base 116 defense with Intimidate is obviously much bulkier. So 331 times 1.3 hits 430, okay? $165, 166, okay? You're hitting 165 base physical defense, so you have more defense than you used to with Intimidate, and you have plus 5 HP, so you are bulkier. No matter, you could ignore all the other changes. If you just want to use bulky Skarmory, go ahead and use it. It's better, all right? It's buffed. It has access to Parting Shot. It has access to Roost, obviously, like it always did. Parting Shot is an insane buff for it defensively. It's a great mon, okay? So you don't ever have to use offensive Skarmory if you don't like it. It does the exact same thing it always did, okay? It's bulky, Steel Flying type, takes hits really nicely. Obviously, when it comes to physical attackers that are immune to Intimidate, ruthless crit moves, although Skarmory is actually resistant to the vast majority of these crit moves. If I go to the 50% crit section, you can see that Skarmory resists Laceration, neutral to Jagged Edge, resists Slash, neutral to Night Slash, resists Psycho Cut, neutral to Shadow Claw, immune to Cross Poison, resists Dragon Claw, resists X Scissor 4 times, neutral to Cross Poison, neutral to Razor Shell. It's not weak to any of them, all right? It's extremely good at taking these hits, despite the fact that they will be bypassing Intimidate drops. As for the 100% crit moves, he is resistant to all of these, especially ones don't matter. I'm only talking about the physical ones. Special ones matter, but obviously they're not affected by Intimidate. So especially, he is resistant or neutral to all of these as well. So there you go, okay? Yes, Ruthless and crit moves do bypass Intimidate. Also, Pokemon with abilities like Defiant, counter Intimidate, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's still much bulkier than it used to be with Intimidate. So as for the logic, okay, so I actually want to just touch on as a whole why I decided to do this with Skarmory. If you go to Skarmory's, multiple reasons. Number one, looking at its design. Nothing about it implies that that it's not. It looks fast. It looks strong, all right? That wouldn't be enough for me to change it this drastically. However, when you go to the Dex entries, I'm just going to read some, okay? Its sturdy wings look heavy, but they're actually hollow and light, allowing it to fly freely in the sky. Reasonable enough. I'm going to talk about the speed entries first, okay? Not the physical attack stuff. I'm going to talk about the speed entries first. Skarmory is entirely encased in hard protective armor, hence why it still has a good physical defense stat. This Pokemon flies at close to 190 miles per hour, okay? And I'm aware the Pokedex is stupid. I'm aware the Pokedex is just complete bullshit and it makes up statistics, but that's all we have to go off of, okay? And if you want to go off of other stuff such as the anime, which is even more of a stretch, yes, it's pretty fucking fast in the anime, but again, the anime is a complete stretch. Just as a Pokemon, it's a bird. It has the ability Light Mode, I believe, right? No, they actually didn't give it light metal. But the point is that the whole gimmick with Skarmory is that it's an armored bird that is still light enough to fly properly. Hence why it should be fast still. It looks like a very aerodynamic Pokemon. If you guys don't know, the people who make the Pokemon stats don't do the Pokemon lore and the design and the description. Somebody else in like Game Freak or the developing place does the stats. And so, oh my god, dude, Steel Flying is such a good defensive typing. Look at all those resistances. Anyways, it's so good, almost too good. Yeah, Skarmory is incredible now. Okay, it is extremely great with Intimidate, and those resistances is insane. You know, you resist almost every type in the game. You're neutral to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 types. You're weak to only fire and electric, and then you have 2 immunities to poison and ground. And then you're resistant to everything else with 4 times resistances to grass and bug. So it's really great, especially with tinted lens bug types. It actually resists those still, so that's incredible. But yeah, having 4 times resistance to bug is very important in this hack with all of the powerful tinted lens bug type Pokemon and the bug type buffs and whatnot. So back on topic. Okay, yes, he does have a +5 defense HP stat, just because, you know, he's 5'7". You know, it's not that small. I figured a little bit more HP is not gonna hurt. And the speed stat, yeah. So back to the speed stat dex entries. So 190 miles per hour. That's fast as shit. And I'm aware that the dex is bullshit. So I'm not gonna, you know, if I really wanted to, I could go higher with the speed, but I wanted to be a little bit reasonable about it. So I went to 123 base speed. But there's other dex entries, you know, they talk about its bones are hollow and light, allowing it to fly freely in the sky. It flies at over 180 miles per hour. It literally says here, despite being clad in entirely iron hard armor, it flies at speeds over 180 miles per hour. Again, it flies over 180 miles per hour. It's actually thin and light, so it can fly at speeds over 180. All of these dex entries talk about how fast and strong it is. Very few of them talk about how defensive it is. Only a couple say that it's covered in defensive in iron hard armor. Like here it says its metal body is sturdy. You know, there you go. Its body is draped in steel armor. But then half of the vast majority of these entries also talk about how it's fucking fast. I mean, it's fast as hell. There's no reason that Skarmory should be slow 70 base speed. What the hell is that? Like, I don't understand. It's always bugged me. It's also always bugged me that he's weak. A little bit less because, yeah, I understand that he would probably be a little bit too good if he was 140 base defense, but the 140 base defense is overkill as fuck. He doesn't need that much. Even without Intimidate, if he had less in defense, it would still be a great Pokemon. It would just be a different Pokemon. So yes, Intimidate is for 2 reasons. Intimidate also logically just kind of fits his vibe, but mostly it's just so people don't whine about him being less bulky, because he is actually objectively far bulkier than he used to be, bar Pokemon that aren't immune to Intimidate, which is a minor factor, because again, all of the Ruthless moves aren't that strong on you anyways. You resist like half of them, and then the rest of them are neutral on you, so it doesn't really matter. Speaking of Ruthless, we'll get into that, because that fits Skarmory really well. I've been giving it the Pokemon that Slash or whatever. And as for the physical attack stat, which is why its physical attack and defense are equal now, these dex entries talk about how strong it is. So a lot of them say it is said that people once used the feathers as swords. They become tattered and bashed from repeated battles. Hold on, a couple more. Yeah, tattered and bashed from repeated battles. Warriors use them as swords. Again, it all repeats itself. The wing feathers it sheds can be processed and made into knives whose sharpness is recognized by the finest chefs. The pointed feathers of these Pokemon are sharper than swords. Skarmory and Corviknight fight viciously over territory. People fashion swords from Skarmory. All of these, dude, there are way more dex entries talking about how Skarmory has sword-like feathers and is extremely fast, 180 miles per hour, than there is talking about how bulky it is and how well it can take hits. So if I really wanted to, I could have made it 96 base defense or 106 base defense. I honestly was debating doing it, but I wanted to keep it a little bit. I wanted to meet in the middle, because I know people really don't like change. And also, I have the base stat total for it because the special attack was low, and so I didn't have to min-max too much. So I was like, you know what? Let him be a 535 base stat total. Let him have that good physical attack and defense, and have that amazing speed stat of 123. If you do check out that speed tier guide, you can see where he matches up. So currently, he outspeeds Pidgeot by 1 point. Pidgeot is also incredibly fast. However, Pidgeot has speed boost, so that's not too much of a factor. That's only good on non-speed boost Pidgeot sets, like Defiant Pidgeot, essentially. Which is funny because, if you're running Intimidate, then Defiant gives him a boost. But anyways, Beedrill, you outspeed by 2 points. And then Dugtrio, Alakazam, Porygon Z, and Mismagius, you outspeed by 3 points. And then, you outspeed all the Pokemon with base 120 and below, of course. There will be more Pokemon added to this tier list as I keep going. Not tier list, but, the speed. Actually, I guess it is a tier list technically, just not ordered in terms of viability, just in speed. There'll be more mons added. These are only the current Kanto and Johto changes on this sheet. So also, you can check all of this stuff out for yourself in the description. It's all really cool. You can look at all of the changes yourself. You can check out all the move changes. I have a very detailed guide with all of the moves ordered and listed into different categories and whatnot. And the vast majority of moves are changed in some regard. So definitely worth checking out if this kind of thing interests you. Yeah, it's great. Okay. So now I can actually talk about them. Yeah, 123 base speed, 116 base attack with Ruthless, 116 base defense with Intimidate. It's a really just strong Pokemon. Great typing. The main weak point being that special defense stat is a little bit middling, which is the only thing really keeping it balanced. Of course, every Pokemon does have access to priority for the most part. So, fire types can use priority Ignite, electric types can use priority Shockwave, which is actually reteachable. So most Pokemon, a lot of Pokemon get access to priority Shockwave. So you can always counter Skarmory very easily with all of these moves. It's not anything too crazy, but yeah, Intimidate Parting Shot is amazing for defensive sets, and then for offensive sets, you have Ruthless, which boosts your critical hits by 50%. So that 116 base attack becomes incredible. You get a free choice band boost when you use critical hit moves, of which I created many. So if you go to the sheet here and you look it up, you can look at it on the move sheet, or you can look at it on the abilities. The move sheet is preferable because you can actually see the effects, but yeah, they all listed out with all the other the current Ruthless Pokemon. So you can see like the vibes that I go for. Typically, like mons that slash or slashy bits are just super. It's a very generic sounding offensive ability, so it fits a lot of Pokemon. Let me also make this a tiny bit less big. Kind of bugging me how big that is. Oh god, I should not have. Now it's so hard to get them to click on the right spots. There we go. It's a little better. Sorry, everyone. So that's a little off now. There we go. God, it is powerful, man. It is really, really powerful. So with Ruthless, essentially the way that I've reworked, if you're, the keen eye will be able to tell that this is Sniper, okay? I have reworked the critical hit moves, though. There are tons of new moves that always crit. To be specific, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 moves that always crit, not counting signature moves. And then there is 1, 2, okay, I'll just say this. There's a 50% crit move, a physical 50% crit move that's basically for almost every type. I think there's, okay, I'm just going to count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. For 14 out of the 18 types, there is a move that is 70 base power, 100% accuracy, 5 PP, this should be 5 for Shadow Claw, I just noticed, and has a 50% crit rate, okay? 50% crit rate. So what that means is, of course, if you're being crazy and not running this with Scope Lens, and you want to be inconsistent and you want to roll the dice every time like a psychopath, you can just run any other item. But of course, the optimal way to run this is with a Scope Lens or a Razor Claw, of which you only get one of each in the game. You only get one Scope Lens, you only get one Razor Claw for balancing reasons, because I don't want people spamming 6 Ruthless Mons. Not that they're really that overpowered at all, but if you had 6 of them, it might be kind of excessive. So 2 at most. Of course, you can always run more and run the 100% crit moves, but in terms of Mons with the 50% crit moves, you can only run 2 of those at a time and get those consistent crits. Of course, those items are also good on regular Pokemon, because even if you don't have the ability Ruthless, these moves are still very good. Just not as powerful, but they are good nonetheless, and a lot of Pokemon get these moves in general. So Skarmory has access to Stab, Laceration, and Stab, Drill Peck. These moves with Ruthless all become 158 base power, so they're all very strong. And of course, they ignore stuff like Intimidate, they ignore stat boost on the opponent's side, so if they have an Iron Defense or whatever up, or Stockpile, whatever, you crit right through that. It's really good stuff right there. So yeah, Laceration and Drill Peck for Stab. They learned Exercise by TM, so I gave them that just because it fits pretty well. And then they have Slash for neutral normal coverage earlier, and then they learn, so basically in order, they learn Slash, then they learn Night Slash and X Scissor, and then they learn Drill Peck and Jagged Edge. So that's Rock, Dark, and Bug coverage, and then you have Dual Stab with Steel and Flying, and you get Drill Run via Tutor, which is the only one of these moves to be learned by those means, because I can't change the Tutor roster. I can only change the TM roster, so I had to keep that there. Drill Run is a little bit funky on it. That was the only one I was kind of iffy on. But, shit like Fearow gets it, so I was like, why not? I mean, a lot of other mons get it that are weirder. Let's just give it to Skarmory. It's nice. It's really important for Steel coverage, because to hit Steel, because your other Ruthless moves are all resisted by Steel, every single one besides Drill Run, so that's important. It's kind of funny. Skarmory actually walls out their Skarmory. It's pretty funny. So yeah, man, it's so strong. And then with the 100% crit moves, so you have access to First Impression via TM, which is actually the earliest. Maybe at the same level you get Slash. You'll be getting First Impression TM in like the mid 30s, early 30s, depending on exactly how the leveling curve is going to be. But you get it in Mount Hokulani. So you know, from the veteran boss. So that's awesome. Great TM. Really easy to reteach that, you know, for specific fights. With Ruthless and First Impression, it becomes 135 base power because First Impression is 60 base power, but it always crits. So it's essentially the same power it always used to be, but it's boosted by Technician and Ruthless now, which is awesome. And Hustle because of the, well, it's always boosted by Hustle, but it works with Hustle because it can't miss, but that's not relevant here. So First Impression is great via TM. And then you have access to Finishing Blow, which is a 35 base power move. With Ruthless, that becomes 79 base power, which is almost 80 base power. And what that does is it gives you a +3 attack boost if you kill the foe with this move. With 80 base power, bug type coverage is pretty solid. I mean, you can easily take things out with that, even from full if they're weak to it. And that's incredible. You get that +3 attack boost with 123 base speed. You're going to town. This is actually good on Intimidate sets as well. You don't have to run Ruthless with these moves. That's the beautiful part of these abilities, is that you can keep the crit moves on your learn set. Maybe leave one slot open for Parting Shot or something with Intimidate if you want to run that. But otherwise, you know, run the dual stab, run Laceration and Drill Peck as your stab moves, and then swap between the abilities. Of course, you have stuff like Brave Bird, which is 125 base power, and Dive Bomb, which is Flying Tech by Jump Kick, which are stronger than non-Ruthless Drill Peck, because non-Ruthless Drill Peck is only 105 base power with the Scope Lens. And actually stuff like even Sharp Beak, I believe Sharp Beak, Brave Beard, and Dive Bomb are technically stronger than Ruthless Scope Lens Drill Peck, I believe. Let me do the math. 120. I'm gonna do Brave Bird first. Times 1.2, 150. So it's okay. That's weaker by 8 points. But Dive Bomb. Okay. Sharp Beak Dive Bomb is the same power. Okay. Obviously, you know, for example, Choice Band Dive Bomb is much more powerful. Life Orb Dive Bomb is much more powerful. But you know, then of course you're taking recoil and you have the 10% chance to miss, and then you take damage. So it is what it is. These moves are still good. Although the other moves do have more PP than these moves. So that's another benefit. These moves do have limited PP, only 5. That was the only way I could really make them balanced. If they had any more, it'd be really ridiculous. They already are very strong as is. So, I mean, 105 base power isn't that crazy, especially because you have to hold a Scope Lens. It's mostly just on the Ruthless Mons I have to make it 5 PP. So, yeah. Back on topic, though. For the 100% crit moves, you have First Impression and Finishing Blow, okay? And then you also have access to the amazing Tutor move and Sky Attack. So Sky Attack is actually reteachable, which is awesome. So, yeah, if it was level up, it'd be kind of gimmicky. Maybe use it for a level or two and then delete it. But with Sky Attack, you can just pop that on whenever you want it. And Sky Attack is extremely powerful. So Sky Attack has 120 base power, but it always crits. So if you do the Ruthless multiplier on that, 120 times 2.25 is 270, I believe. Yes, 270 base power flying type move. That is like double the power of some Z moves. It's really strong. With power herb, Ruthless, Sky Attack, boom, you're just killing shit. You know, even Resist will probably just crumble to it if they're not that bulky. And of course, that also has a 30% flinch rate, so that's great. So that's Sky Attack. And then you also have Wicked Blow and Stone Edge. Stone Edge is a TM. Wicked Blow is level up at 65. Those are both 90% accurate, 80 base power. Just strong moves. With Ruthless, those are both Ruthless. Those become, oh my god. With Ruthless, those both become 180 base power, and they always crit. So you can run those with any item. You don't need to run Scope Lens. Scope Lens is like, this is one of the Ruthless mons where the 100% crit moves aren't stabbed, so it's not that great. Besides Sky Attack. Sky Attack's insane. But besides Sky Attack, you know, those are just coverage options, which are good. I mean, First Impression is more for the priority and the power. Finishing Blow is for the attack boost. So, you know, you're not using those for damage necessarily, although First Impression is very strong. So that's awesome. Okay. Hope that covers that. Ruthless also fits very well, given that the deck study talks about how their feathers are like swords and they use them to make swords and shit. I mean, that's perfect. I mean, boom, you know, slash moves makes so much sense for it. Really awesome changes. I love it. Again, defensively, it's incredible still with Intimidate. It has base 165-ish defense. And if that's the best part is that gets even more if you cycle. So, you know, you Parting Shot out, they're -2 attack. Switch back into another mon, now you switch back in again, now it's -3 attack. You know, you keep doing that. So you're actually even bulkier and bulkier each time you switch in. So I really don't, I swear if I get a comment that isn't trolling about, actually, next, please don't troll. I want genuine comments. Don't troll. I'm gonna get so many trolls now. It's fine. So, also, I mean, I actually like Skarmory a lot, but it always bugged me that its stats were set out that way. Not that it was bad. I mean, of course, in competitive, it's great, but look at that look at this mon. Look at how sharp it is. Look at how sleek it looks. Why is it so slow and so weak? It didn't make sense. If they ever made like a Mega Skarm in Gen 6, I wish they just didn't boost the defense at all and just gave it 50 attack, 50 speed, and that's literally it. Change nothing else. That would be really cool. What would they even give it? That would give it 130 and 120. So they could even do 60-40. That would be pretty similar to what these buffs are actually. Actually almost identical. Yeah, because -25, yeah, they'll be almost identical to what my buffs are. So that's pretty cool. and the abilities are even better because you can choose between the two. So yeah, of course, this is the power levels in the hack. This is, I mean, I would say it's on the upper level of Pokemon in hack, but it's still like nothing that crazy. I mean, there's tons of mons that can do very similar things, and there actually are plenty of Pokemon that will have this exact same ability combination, an incredible one, because one of them's defensive, one of them's offensive, and they don't really clash with each other, so you can keep your Ruthless moves on the Intimidate sets and vice versa. You can keep your Intimidate moves on the Ruthless sets because, there's not any overlap there. For utility, besides Parting Shot, you do have stuff like rocks. I gave them T-Spikes just because, Hazard is funny, haha. And they are spiky. It's whatever. A lot more mons get Toxic Spikes now. Same with all these other weird moves that you might find weird. Like, a lot of other mons get them now, so it's not weird when you consider the grand scheme of all the mons that get it. You do have Close Combat and Takedown to hit steals if they're not weak to Drill Run for some reason. Obviously, that isn't Ruthless boosted, but it's still really strong. Those are 110 and 120 base power, respectively. Those are good coverage. Besides Laceration, you're only strong. Actually, Laceration is by far your strongest Steel type move because Iron Head and Smart Strike are 80 and 75 base power. Smart Strike is kind of cool if you want to run that on like a Dive Bomb set, like Smart Strike plus Dive Bomb to not miss Dive Bomb, because Smart Strike gives you an accuracy boost now on top of being 75 base power and not missing. And you can use that with stuff like Mega Horn and Stone Edge and Wicked Blow as well. Inaccurate moves like that. It's pretty cool. Also, yeah, Mega Horn is kind of awkward, but I have to give it to a bunch of mons, otherwise it's kind of a waste of a TM slot. And he does have a giant horn right there, and he has a very spiky Pokemon, so I think Mega Horn fits fine. A little bit odd, but it is what it is. I like it. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. It just has good coverage. You got the X-Scissor, Night Slash, Jagged Edge, Drill Run, Takedown, Close Combat, all these rock moves, Zen Headbutt, all this really good stuff. Utility-wise, you have, Roost, Parting Shot. I'm repeating myself a lot, so I should probably end this video off soon. But agility sets are pretty good. Leer is good utility. Metal Sound is niche utility. Spikes is not the greatest, but it does have a good D effect plus 2 defense. If you want to run that, I don't know. It's just there because, flavor. It's not great in game. Spikes are great in competitive. This would be, obviously this is not competitive. AI does not switch out often enough to really warrant hazards outside of breaking focus stashes and stuff. Or if they have a 4 times weak mon that you need to take 50% for some reason, then you can click it. Because Stealth Rock is reteachable, so it's by far the best one. And Toxic Spikes. Toxic Spikes is by far the best hazard in the game, in-game, because that actually has a useful effect of poisoning everything, especially because the AI doesn't really combat it. As long as you can get it off, you can pretty much guarantee that the T-Spikes go up, and then, their whole team is basically poisoned as long as they don't have an immunity or a poison type to soak it up. And that could be great with like Venoshock or Merciless Pokemon, which many more Pokemon have Merciless, so that's cool. But back on topic, E-Speed logically fits, again, given the Dex entry is talking about 190 goddamn miles per hour. E-Speed is perfectly fitting. It's not even that good on it. Honestly, it's kind of ass. Yeah, it's 80 base power, normal type move, but like you already have Aerial Ace for priorities and First Impression, which is really strong. So if you need that priority, just run Aerial Ace, it's better. But if you delete Aerial Ace for some reason, you can always have Extreme Speed if you need that priority for a specific boss fight. SDE speed is pretty good, but Aerial Ace is better. I believe it's actually technically weaker, but it's super effective on stuff. 55 times 1.5. No, it's slightly stronger. So yeah, stat Aerial Ace is 55 base power, plus 2 priority, while E-Speed is plus 3 priority, so E-Speed does have prioritize it slightly. So, it's not like E-Speed is bad or anything, but having that 3 extra base power on Aerial Ace and also being a flying type move, meaning it has super effective on mons, is good. That's cool. And then, of course, First Impression, Ruthless is great priority. Fury Spikes and Fury Pecks. Jesus, I combined the moves. Fury Spikes. Wow. Fury Pecks, Spike Cannon, and Fury Spikes are just solid moves for the mid-early game. I don't know when it'll be obtainable. Probably not that early, given how strong it is. Most likely, like Ula Ula. Somewhere in Ula Ula is where it'll be obtainable. Just if I'm being real, because of how strong it is. Which is still plenty of time to abuse it. I mean, you'll be getting it probably in the mid-30s if I had to guess. So that's really cool. It's really, really cool. Yeah, you get the crit moves, 39 and 41. Metal Burst is a decent utility, and then I already covered all the other moves. So Leer gives -2 defense. Whirlwind is +4 priority, 1 PP. So that's essentially a get out of jail free card. If the opponent is sweeping you, you send in your Skarmory, you Whirlwind them the fuck out. Now they're no longer sweeping you. Or you can actually use that to get a more optimal matchup to set up. So for example, you can Whirlwind the lead that has Taunt, get them out of your face, and then you can click SD. Also, being super fast means getting SD off is a lot easier. SD in general is very, very powerful on this mon for sure. So that's really cool. There's really not too much else to cover here. I think I got everything. It's got a lot more coverage, got a lot more power. I really hope I explained the new we worked Skarmory well enough. I hope people are cool with the change. I think it's fucking sick, and it fits really well. So the only reason people are gonna have a negative reaction to this is gonna be Unga Bunga, I don't like change, which is like fair, but if you don't like change, you should not. This is not for you, and that's not an insult. That's just like, you know, it's like if you don't like bitter, I don't know, if you don't like sweet food, you're not gonna like going to a candy store. I don't know, bad analogy, but you know, it's not for everybody. Okay, not everybody wants a massively reworked ROM hack. Not everybody wants everything to be changed. Not everybody wants, you know, buff Pokemon where everything is equal and awesome and strong and fun to use and new moves. Not everybody wants to relearn. Not everybody wants to relearn the basics of the game. Not everybody wants to do that. Some people just want to fucking play a ROM hack where you can get all the Pokemon and have plus 10 base stat total to a couple of mons, and that's it. And that's understandable. I disagree with your taste strongly, but again, that's subjective as fuck. So yeah, this is probably a good time for me to end the video because I'm just talking about bullshit now. So yeah, all right, this was an awesome change. I really am happy with how Skarmory turned out. It's super sick, super strong. So if you listen this far and you dislike it, then I don't know. I mean, thanks for listening. But I'm assuming if you listen this far, you like this type of thing and you are into this change. And if you are and you're new here, make sure you subscribe. You can see all my other videos. You can see how I buffed all the other Pokemon. You can see how we worked other Pokemon. You can also go to these Google Sheets yourself in the description and check out stuff for yourself. You can join my Discord server. It's getting a lot more active recently. People are joining a lot quicker, which is cool. I think the videos are helping. Not that I want that many people in it. I mean, it's nice to have, but I mostly just want people to look at the hack. The server is just kind of there for me to update people and, you know, just to have a little community. It's nice. Like, I'm not saying I don't like the server, but yeah, that's about it. I guess I didn't talk about Solar Blade. That's pretty good. It's just decent coverage if you need to hit something with a grass move and the sun. If you have a sun team or a sun teammate, you know, you can run that Solar Blade. It's pretty good. That's about it though. I think I heard everything else. So yeah. And also the reason I gave that is because haha Blade, you know, he has blades. I've been very lenient with giving these types of TMs, you know. If they learn Solar Beam and they're physical, I give them Solar Blade. If they have sharp bits and it makes sense, or they're known for flashing shit, I give them Solar Blade, whatever it is. It's just a nice little thing you can do in the sun. Or with Power Herb, actually. You could totally like Power Herb, Sky Attack, or Solar Blade if you really wanted to. You know, if you need to hit like a fucking Swampert or a Quagsire or something, then, you know, by all means run Solar Blade. So yeah, that's about it. So thank you so much for listening. Oh, Quagsire especially, because it's unaware, so you wouldn't be able to like hit it with Swords Dance boost. Maybe if you're trying to sweep, I don't know, just an idea. You know, there's tons of applications to this stuff, and it'll be a lot easier to talk about that when I actually do the trainers, which will be after the changes, of course. That'll be the last stage actually, because I have to do wild encounters first and all the locations. But yeah, I've talked for long enough, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll be back for more. Goodbye.